completely agree.
You've seen that just arrive on our agenda?
Which
Harvey Elliott, deal done.
Oh, there we go. Harvey Elliott, done deal. Harvey Elliott has signed a new deal with Liverpool Football Club. I'm saying this so that if we choose to use the Harvey Elliott section on YouTube, we can just cut this bit into the start of the conversation. It's not good. What do we think? Are you good?
Yeah.
You happy with that? Yes, brilliant.
Continuity
Seamless.
everywhere.
It's absolutely seamless. Harvey Elliott, been reported to Dom King saying that he's in line for a new contract.
Yeah, it looks
Makes
like
sense.
it. Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, we've been sort of signposted for a while. He was on the list. I think Jota, Keita and Elliott, I think, were the three once the big one was done with Mo Salah. Rewards, I mean, we've seen it with players. Curtis Jones, I think, was one that sort of went through the levels a bit quickly when he started his establishment. I think Trent was another one that, you know, he gets a new deal and then gets another new deal and gets another new deal, and it's sort of like, yeah, you're sort of moving up the grades, if you like, the pay grades. And Elliott, I mean, I spoke to Pep Linders. I'll just refer back to Pep, but I spoke to him, obviously, you guys were at the event last week. I spoke to him after that, and I didn't use the quotes. I've still got them for a rainy day, but I asked him about Harvey Elliott, and, you know, you can tell. I think what comes across, Diaz and Elliott in the book are the two that he come across that he just, and Milner, I suppose, but that he just loves. And you some quotes about him. I think he said Vitor Mata stops him one day and says, just remember where you were when you're watching this boy emerge, because he's going to be special. And that's what Liverpool think of him. You know, he's obviously got some work to do. He's still got to get in the side and then stay in the side, but they obviously think massively of him. They obviously see him as a star of the team, and now he's back fit, and he's, you know, obviously hopefully going to stay fit and become a big part of the team over the next 12 months and beyond. It makes sense to have him on a long-term contract, and also to reward him for the progress that he's made. Yeah,
there's so many things around him I just think are so refreshing, because it's been a while. I mean, and obviously Trent had this, but I think we saw Trent, like, I don't know, he was drip fed into the side. You know what I mean? People remember his debut. People remember him. I remember some of his early struggles, and I think because of the position that he plays, he's had to grow into that role. And Harvey Elliott's done the same. But there's just something about being an attacking player where you get to immediately look brilliant. You can have zero total like input on the game in terms of like goals and assists, but you can look boss from minute one. And that's something that I think Harvey Elliott's done. That's why he's got everyone so excited. But there's the character around it. I referenced this a few weeks ago. Look at the pre-season games. You know, we're playing the pre-season game at Anfield. It's effectively a nothing game against Strasbourg, and there's a lad who gets, I think it's Frauendorf, gets stuck in the advertising hall, and he's going to take a corner, and he goes, oh God, and he thinks he might be hurt, so he leaves the ball and he runs over to check him. The Strasbourg player goes down with cramp, and he's the first one over to him, helping him out with that. In fact, he was doing that at the weekend against Fulham as well. I think is it Mitrovic who goes down, and Harvey Elliott's the one going over treating him. He'll help fans out. He feels like he's the whole package. He just needs now to go and put a run of games down and show that he's got it on the pitch as well.
Yeah, I agree about the character side of it. You know, he's made some mistakes when he was younger in terms of a lot of people make that kind of things, but he strikes me as someone who's so grateful to be playing for Liverpool. And, you know, he's one of them that it doesn't feel like you could tell him there's anything better in the world than this, you know, that he could sort of go, well, Barcelona want me, or you know, Manchester City or whatever. It feels like, well, I'm living my dream. And Linders actually said the Strasbourg game, he said, I called him over after an hour and said to Milner and Elliott, just they must have just been on that side of the pitch, and he said, how are you feeling? He said, Milner said, yeah, I'm okay. And he said, Harvey was like, I could play all night, and just ran off, you know, and he played half an hour the day before against City in the Community Shield. So that was the word he used, pure joy. He said he's got pure joy in having a ball at his feet, and especially having a Liverpool shirt on. I love watching him. I think there's going to be a time when we're going to have to see what he is in terms of, you know, is he a wide player? Is he a midfielder? Is he going to be able to score you 10 goals? Is he going to be able to assist a lot of goals? That kind of thing.
Bailey the dog certainly thinks he's
Bailey the dog is a huge Harvey Elliott fan. We all are. But I think when you get to that level where he's in the side, I don't think you could ever sort of look and think he needs to come out of the side, because I think he's just got that way of playing. I think as well, you mentioned the attacking player looked boss. I think a left-footed attacking player as well can always look really good. He's got a really nice style about him. I remember, I don't know if you were at the game, remember Midfield, he played Napoli at Midfield, I think, and he just signed, and I remember someone fizzing the ball to him and he controlled it, and even just the way he controlled it, the whole sort of crowd went, oh, where's the footballer? You know, and he was 16 at that point. You know, he's just got that way that you watch him and think, footballer.
He looks, and I said this often, but go back to the Aston Villa League Cup game when everyone's over in Qatar and he's there behaving like Steven Gerrard in it, you know what I mean? Like, but like not in like, oh God, I can't be asked to be it. Like, no, I'm the best player. Don't worry. Everyone gather around me. I'm going to lead us through this. But you see him do this in games now more and more with the senior footballers. And I thought the Fulham game, I thought it was a bit of an easing in. Although he was, you know, he got increasingly brave as the game went on. You look at his every touch. There's a video of his every touch. There's a lot of just, okay, I'll give it you back because but when a couple of them, and all of a sudden, he's turning through men, and he's getting front foot, and he's looking to link play better. You're right in terms of where he fixes himself in this Liverpool squad is going to be very, very interesting indeed. But you can see quite clearly what a talent he is. You can see that he's got all the stuff off the pitch as well. It is just a case of him going out and can he do it at that level and can he do it consistently? But you know, Liverpool's midfield issues, and you know, it's been a hot topic as we get into this season. It's unavoidable. Liverpool, Harvey Elliott will see himself as the answer to that problem, and that will be his mission now, is to go out there and get on the pitch as much as possible.
There was a part, going back to Pep Lijnders, it's a lot of Pep Lijnders in this section, but there's a line in his book that stood out for me, and it said, when you're playing against a physical team, and I think it's before they played Burnley, he said, put as much football as you can on the pitch. He said, take the physicality out of it. You know, I think that's what the doubt about Harvey Elliott is. Can he handle physicality? Yeah. You know, can he get stuck into the hurly-burly of a midfield or whatever? Actually, what you do is you put him in those type of games and let his class sort of play around that element to it. So, yeah, I've got no doubt about that he's going to be capable of being a Liverpool player long term. It just depends where and in what kind of sort of guys. It
was interesting, the early days of him, like the early FA Cup and just general cup appearances, he shone actually in games against better teams. You know, he looked better against Everton than he looks against Shrewsbury. You know, he actually, and particularly in the first game, he looks a little lost in those games. We go, oh, this will be the chance for him to shine. The Blackburn loan won't have done him any harm in terms of getting his head around more of the physical side of things. One thing I thought was really interesting is one of the things he spoke to me about over in Bangkok was how, and he basically said, I kind of wasn't giving it me all in training at the back end of the season, which I thought was a very frank admission, and I want a very brave thing to actually say, because, you know, that's mad that a footballer should come out and say I wasn't giving it, but it was understandable. Effectively what he's saying is his injury bothered him, and he didn't want, having dragged himself back, the last thing he wanted to do was to go full force in training, injure, and then miss more footy, whereas it feels like whatever Liverpool have done, they've managed to reboot Harvey Elliott, and we'll be able to see whether that's true or not, I think, in the next month. I think we'll get a much clearer picture of where he's at, but I thought that was a very brave admission, and again, it shows the admission of his own faults, and if you can admit your own faults, it means you can improve upon them.
Yeah, and listen, I think that what he said to you there will have been said to him. Yes. I don't think he necessarily have just decided that he wasn't doing that.
Well, he certainly wasn't saying it before the Champions League final. It was all like, oh no, I've been training and blah blah blah.
He's had that conversation with someone and accepted it, which bodes well for him, because there are a lot of players, young and old, who would be, I'm fine, you know, and bury their heads a little bit or just disagree with the manager or the coaches. He does feel like somebody who listens and takes on board what's said, and, you know, messages go in, you know, whenever they're given, whether it's tactical or mental or whatever. It was a bad injury he had, you know, easy to forget. Not just a bad injury, but a sort of... the images are horrible as well, so it's the idea of, you know, you get that out of your mind almost, that can happen to you on a football pitch. You know, who knows, he might have had a few rough tackles, but he might have had a few sort of hurdles he had to overcome in his rehab, in terms of making sure that he feels completely confident and strong now, that, you know, he can handle that rough and tumble. I think he showed that at the start of last season, really. I mean, I remember there was a game against Burnley, wasn't it? He played early on in the season where he felt like he was targeted a little bit by their midfielders, and he come through that. So yeah, there's no I don't have any doubts about Elliott in terms of talent and personality. It's just about the opportunity and whether he takes it when it comes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he'll play Monday, by the way.
Yeah. And Liverpool love him, Klopp loves him, Pep loves him.
Yeah, the fans love him.
Yeah, exactly. And long may it continue. Okay.
Get yourself signed up for Redmen Plus today. Go to redmenplus.com. There is loads of benefits other than the incredible content that we produce week in, week out on the team that we all support. You can get 20% off merchandise. You can get access to a Discord server where it's Liverpool 24/7, 365. Get over there, redmenplus.com.